Ladies and gentlemen, every man deep down knows that life can sometimes feel like a battle. It's a battle fought quietly, without fanfare, away from the eyes of the world. This battle is fought in the recesses of his own mind, with doubts, insecurities, and fears often serving as his most relentless adversaries, and at times it feels as though you are standing alone, with no one beside you to offer support. You look around and the world seems indifferent, distant. The silence becomes deafening, and yet the battle rages on. It's easy to lose sight of your purpose in the midst of this silent war. The world doesn't always acknowledge the struggles that take place behind closed doors, the constant fight to keep moving forward when everything inside you wants to give up. You might feel like a warrior with no army, a soldier without a banner. But here's the crucial thing to understand: you do not need external validation to face your battles. The strength you are searching for, the support you crave, exists within you, waiting to be uncovered. You see, the struggle is not about avoiding hardship or expecting the world to throw you a lifeline. The struggle is about confronting your darkest thoughts, doubts, and fears, and continuing to march forward despite them. There are moments when life feels unfair. It seems as though everyone else has someone to lean on, someone to guide them. But the reality is, those who have no obvious support have the opportunity to cultivate something far more valuable: resilience. It is in the moments of isolation that a man's true character is forged. The path forward is not always clear, but it is the willingness to face those moments with courage that defines who you become. You are the architect of your own destiny. The struggle that you face alone will make you stronger. When you fight without help, you build an indomitable will. You develop the kind of strength that does not depend on external support, but rises from within. The silent battle of a man with no support becomes his greatest teacher and ultimately his greatest triumph. Because in the end, the man who faces himself, who stands alone and keeps moving, is the man who shapes the world around him, even if no one ever sees the battle he fought. Inner strength over external support. The silent battle of a man is fought within, and true strength comes from confronting one's own doubts, insecurities, and fears, rather than relying on external validation or support. Resilience is built in isolation. Moments of isolation and struggle are opportunities to develop resilience. It's in these times that a man's character is forged, proving that adversity can be a powerful teacher. The importance of perseverance. Even when faced with overwhelming odds and no apparent help, the key to victory lies in continuing to move forward, regardless of the silence or lack of external encouragement. Self-reliance and inner will. A man who fights alone develops a powerful sense of self-reliance. The absence of support doesn't diminish his strength. It enhances his ability to stand firm on his own. Transformation through struggle. The silent battles fought in solitude ultimately lead to personal growth. The man who faces his internal struggles without aid is the one who shapes his own destiny, and in doing so, becomes stronger and more capable. In life, we often find ourselves in situations where we are up against challenges that seem insurmountable. We look around and notice that others have a support system, a network of friends, family, or colleagues who stand by them, offering encouragement, guidance, and resources when needed. It can feel disheartening to realize that, in comparison, you stand alone with no one to lean on, no one to offer that external support. But here's the crucial truth: external support is not the key to overcoming life's challenges. The most powerful strength you can rely on comes from within yourself. When faced with adversity, many people naturally seek the comfort of others. It's not uncommon to want someone to tell you that everything will be okay, or to provide a shoulder to cry on. While human connection and support are valuable, there's a deeper, more lasting kind of strength that arises when you learn to stand on your own. You see, the battles that we face in life are not always physical or external. They are often psychological. These battles are fought in the mind, where doubts, fears, and insecurities can create a storm that threatens to drown us. In these moments, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that we need external validation to survive. However, what we fail to recognize is that the strength required to confront these challenges already resides inside us. True strength is not just about muscle or willpower, it's about resilience. It's about the ability to face the harshest storms within yourself and still find the courage to continue moving forward. When you rely on others for validation, approval, or reassurance, you are inadvertently giving away your power. You are depending on the actions or words of others to dictate your own sense of self-worth. But what happens when those external sources of support are no longer there? What happens when the people you've leaned on are unavailable, or worse, when they themselves are struggling? If your strength is based solely on the approval of others, then you are vulnerable to being swept away by circumstances beyond your control. This is why developing inner strength is so essential. It's about realizing that you don't need external validation to be strong. You don't need someone else to tell you that you are capable, worthy, or powerful. The truth is, the greatest battles in life will often be fought in silence, within the walls of your own mind. And when you can learn to face these battles with courage and determination, when you can push forward despite feeling overwhelmed or isolated, you will discover a strength in yourself that is immeasurable. Inner strength is cultivated through hardship. It is built during the times when there is no one else to help you, when the world feels cold and indifferent. It's easy to stay strong when there's someone offering a hand to help you up. But it's the moments when you have to pick yourself up alone that define your true strength. Those moments are not a reflection of weakness. They are an opportunity to discover just how resilient and capable you truly are. Each time you face a challenge without support and overcome it, you gain confidence in your ability to face future challenges. You learn that you don't need someone to give you permission to be strong. You are already strong, simply because you've survived. When you understand that your strength is not dependent on others, you begin to approach life differently. You stop waiting for the world to acknowledge your efforts, to recognize your struggles, or to offer you a reward for your perseverance. Instead, you begin to find fulfillment in your own ability to continue moving forward, even when no one is watching. It's a quiet victory, but it's often the most profound, because when you rely on yourself, you begin to understand that you don't need to prove anything to anyone. Your worth doesn't come from the applause or recognition of others. It comes from the fact that you have the courage to keep going, no matter how difficult the journey may be. This internal strength is what allows you to weather the storms of life without being swept away. It's what allows you to remain grounded, even when the world around you is chaotic. When you rely solely on external support, you may feel stable for a time, but you will always be at the mercy of circumstances. Your strength is only as strong as the people around you. But when you develop the ability to stand firm on your own, when you learn to trust your own judgment and rely on your inner resilience, you become truly unstoppable. You can face any challenge, no matter how daunting, with the confidence that you have the strength to overcome it, even if you have to fight alone. So, while it's true that support can be valuable, it is crucial to remember that the most powerful form of support comes from within. It's the inner conviction that no matter what happens, you have the ability to face life's challenges head on. It's about knowing that you are enough, with or without external validation. And when you truly internalize this truth, you will find that the battles you once thought you couldn't win become opportunities for growth, and the strength you once thought you lacked becomes a wellspring that never runs dry. In life, the moments we spend in solitude often hold more value than we realize. When the noise of the world fades away and we are left with nothing but ourselves, there's a tendency to feel lost or overwhelmed. However, it is in these quiet, isolated moments that resilience is cultivated, even though we might not recognize it at the time. The challenges faced alone, without external support or encouragement, provide us with the opportunity to build a strength that is unshakable. In fact, the moments of isolation that seem to weigh the heaviest are the very moments that forge our character and determine the trajectory of our lives. Resilience is not something that can be gifted to us or acquired from external sources. It's something that must be built from the inside out. It's a muscle that strengthens over time through repeated use. It grows when we are tested, when we face obstacles that seem insurmountable. While the world may tell us that we need help to overcome these challenges, the truth is that help often doesn't come in the way we expect. The people we rely on might be unavailable, they may not understand, or they might even be facing their own battles. And in those moments, when the support we expect doesn't arrive, we are left with a choice: to fall victim to the circumstances, or to summon the strength within ourselves to rise above them. This is where the real power lies. It is not in the absence of difficulty or struggle that we find strength, but in our ability to confront those difficulties head on when we feel most alone. Isolation is a crucible in which resilience is forged. It's easy to find strength when someone is cheering you on, when the world is offering you reassurance. But it is in the silence, when you are on your own, that you begin to truly understand what you are capable of. You realize that the strength you've been seeking outside of yourself has always been inside, waiting to be tapped into. Through isolation, we learn to trust ourselves. The more we face hardship without the crutch of external support, the more we come to understand our own capacity for endurance. Initially, the absence of support can feel like a weight too heavy to bear. We may question whether we are capable, whether we have the fortitude to continue. But with each step we take, no matter how small, we begin to build a sense of confidence in our own abilities. We learn to rely on our own judgment, to make decisions based on our own inner wisdom, and to develop the conviction to move forward, even when the path is unclear. In time, the fear of isolation begins to fade, replaced by a quiet strength that comes from knowing that we can face any situation on our own. The real power of resilience comes from this. The more we fight through challenges alone, the more we develop an inner fortitude that cannot be easily shaken. Each time we face a struggle without relying on others to provide solutions, we build the mental and emotional strength to handle whatever life throws our way. We begin to understand that we are capable of far more than we initially thought. We realize that while external circumstances might be difficult, it is our response to those circumstances that truly defines us. Resilience is not about avoiding pain or hardship. It is about learning how to navigate through it with courage and determination. It's important to note that this resilience does not come instantly. It's a process that takes time and repeated effort. At first, the weight of isolation can feel unbearable. We might doubt ourselves, question our worth, or wonder if we're strong enough to endure. But the very act of pushing through these doubts, of continuing on despite the fear and uncertainty, is what builds resilience. Each challenge, no matter how small, is a building block. Over time, the accumulation of these challenges leads to a profound transformation. What once felt like an insurmountable obstacle becomes just another part of the journey, a journey that we now know we are capable of navigating alone, with confidence and strength. And while it's true that we may face these challenges alone, the outcome is ultimately one of empowerment. We come to realize that we are not defined by our circumstances, nor by the presence or absence of support. We are defined by our ability to face those circumstances with resilience, to rise in the face of adversity, and to continue moving forward even when the odds are stacked against us. It's this inner strength that shapes our character, that transforms us into individuals who can withstand the storms of life, no matter how fierce they may be. Moreover, resilience built through isolation becomes a wellspring that continues to fuel us in the future. The more we navigate through life's challenges alone, the more we develop a deep, seated confidence that we can handle whatever comes next. It's a self-sustaining cycle. The more resilient we become, the more capable we feel, and the more capable we feel, the stronger we grow. This cycle continues to build upon itself, creating a foundation of inner strength that can weather any storm. Ultimately, the true value of resilience lies in its ability to carry us through even the most difficult times. When we face challenges alone, we are not simply surviving, we are evolving. We are becoming individuals who are not defined by our circumstances, but by our response to them. Through isolation, we are given the opportunity to cultivate a strength that is not dependent on anyone or anything outside of ourselves, and it is this strength that carries us through life, no matter where the journey takes us. Life is rarely predictable, and at times, the weight of challenges feels unbearable. In those moments, it's easy to fall into despair, to feel as though the burden is too heavy to carry alone. It's natural to want external reassurance or support, but the truth is that perseverance is ultimately the most powerful tool we have. In the absence of help, we are forced to rely on our own determination, our inner strength, and the resolve to continue moving forward, even when it seems as though everything is against us. The key to enduring these moments is simple. We must keep going, step by step, even when we feel like we have nothing left to give. It is in those moments of absolute fatigue, of wanting to give up, that we learn the most about ourselves. The act of persevering in the face of adversity is one of the most powerful things a person can do. It is not about avoiding pain, nor is it about hoping for external circumstances to change. Perseverance is about choosing to keep moving forward, despite the obstacles that stand in your way. When you feel the weight of the world pressing down on you, when you feel isolated, alone, and vulnerable, the decision to continue, to not give up, is the most important one you can make. It's easy to let doubt creep in, to question whether you have what it takes to keep going. But true perseverance is not the absence of doubt. It is the act of pushing forward even when doubt is present. When there is no one to offer you encouragement, when the world seems indifferent to your struggle, the only person who can push you forward is yourself. External support can provide a temporary boost, but it is your internal resolve that will carry you through the long haul. It is easy to rely on others to give us a sense of direction or motivation, but when no one is there, we have no choice but to look within. This is where true strength lies. We are capable of far more than we think, but it is only in those times of struggle, when we have no other choice but to push through, that we truly see what we are made of. Perseverance is not a trait that is innate. It is something that must be cultivated over time. It is developed by repeatedly choosing to stand up after every fall, by refusing to let setbacks define you, and by continuing on even when the journey seems endless. It requires patience, determination, and an unwavering commitment to keep moving forward, regardless of the circumstances. Every time you choose to push through the pain, the exhaustion, or the frustration, you build resilience. You prove to yourself that you can handle more than you ever thought possible, and with each victory, no matter how small, your perseverance grows stronger. The process of persevering through challenges is also about learning how to navigate failure. When no one is around to offer advice or encouragement, failure can seem like a final destination. But in reality, failure is simply a part of the journey. It is inevitable, and it is not something to be feared. It is through failure that we learn the most. We learn how to adapt, how to be resourceful, and how to find new solutions when the old ones no longer work. Failure teaches us humility and resilience, two qualities that are essential to personal growth. But when there is no one to offer a comforting word or to help us navigate the aftermath of failure, we are forced to rely on our own inner strength to move forward. The act of persevering without support also teaches us the importance of self-reliance. When no one is there to pick you up, you realize that the only person who can help you is yourself. You learn to trust your own judgment, to make decisions that align with your values and goals, even when others may not understand or agree. You learn to rely on your own abilities, to be your own cheerleader, and to push forward without waiting for someone else to step in. Self-reliance is not about rejecting help entirely, but rather about recognizing that your own strength is enough to get you through the most difficult times. The beauty of perseverance is that it is transformative. Every time you choose to keep going, despite the odds, you are changing who you are. You are becoming someone who does not shy away from difficulty, who faces challenges head on, and who continues moving forward even when it seems impossible. It's easy to think that perseverance is about brute force, about pushing through every obstacle with relentless energy. But in reality, perseverance is about adaptability. It's about knowing when to keep going, when to take a step back, and when to change course without giving up on the goal. Perseverance is about knowing that there is always a way forward, even when the path is unclear, and that sometimes the best way to move forward is simply to put one foot in front of the other. There are times in life when it feels as though you are fighting an uphill battle with no end in sight. In these moments, when no one else is there to offer support, the decision to keep going becomes a radical act of self-belief. It's a declaration that, despite the circumstances, you will not be defined by your struggle. You will not let failure determine your future. You will keep going, and in doing so, you will come to realize that the journey itself is just as important as the destination. The person you become in the process of persevering, the strength you build, and the resilience you develop, these are the true rewards. They cannot be measured in accolades or achievements, but in the quiet, steadfast commitment to keep moving forward, no matter what. In life, one of the most powerful lessons we can learn is that our ability to face and overcome challenges is not dependent on anyone or anything outside of ourselves. While external support can be helpful, it is the strength we cultivate within ourselves that defines how we move through life's struggles. This self-reliance, which is often forged in the most difficult and solitary moments, empowers us to not only endure adversity, but to thrive in the face of it. When we learn to trust in our own abilities, to rely on our inner strength and judgment, we unlock a capacity for resilience and determination that is unmatched. Self-reliance is not about isolating ourselves from others or rejecting support. It's about recognizing that, at the end of the day, we are the ones who must ultimately take responsibility for our own lives. It's about understanding that while others may be there to offer advice or encouragement, the decision to act, to persist, and to move forward always rests with us. When we develop self-reliance, we stop waiting for permission or validation from the outside world. Instead, we become the architects of our own fate, taking control of our actions and choices. This shift in perspective is crucial because it allows us to regain agency in our lives. It removes the burden of waiting for circumstances to align perfectly or for others to provide the support we think we need. Life will never be without challenges, and there will always be moments when we feel unsure, overwhelmed, or unsupported. But when we trust in our own ability to navigate these moments, we empower ourselves to face them with confidence. Self-reliance becomes the foundation from which we build our resilience, and it is this inner strength that allows us to rise above external circumstances. The process of becoming self-reliant begins with self-trust, It's about learning to trust your instincts, your decisions, and your capacity to handle whatever life throws at you. When you begin to trust yourself, you start to recognize that you have the skills and abilities needed to solve problems, overcome obstacles, and continue moving forward, even when the path is unclear. Trusting yourself means embracing the reality that failure is a part of growth, not an indication of your inadequacy. It means understanding that mistakes are opportunities to learn and grow, not reasons to give up. Self-reliance also teaches us the value of perseverance. When you are not dependent on others to fix your problems or validate your efforts, you learn to keep moving forward, even when things seem impossible. This is the core of perseverance, the ability to stay the course when the external world offers no assurance that your efforts will pay off. It is the quiet determination to keep going, to keep working, even when there is no guarantee of success. This perseverance, born of self-reliance, ensures that we do not give up when the going gets tough. Instead, we find the strength to keep pushing, knowing that our efforts are not in vain, even if the rewards are not immediate. There is a particular power in knowing that, no matter what happens, you can rely on yourself. In moments of adversity, when the people around you may not be able to help, or when external support is lacking, self-reliance is what allows you to keep going. It's the voice inside that tells you you can handle this. It's the quiet inner resolve that pushes you to take the next step, even when the path is difficult or unclear. Self-reliance is what allows you to remain calm under pressure, to make decisions with confidence, and to keep your focus on the goal, even when the distractions are many. One of the most profound aspects of self-reliance is the sense of empowerment it brings. When you realize that you are capable of handling your own challenges, you begin to view life through a different lens. Instead of feeling like a victim of circumstances, you begin to see yourself as an active participant in shaping your future. This shift in mindset transforms how you approach every challenge you face. Instead of seeing obstacles as insurmountable walls, you begin to view them as opportunities to strengthen your resolve and prove to yourself just how capable you are. The more you rely on yourself, the more confident you become in your ability to handle whatever life brings your way. Self-reliance also cultivates independence. While it is important to have relationships and support systems, there is a unique freedom that comes with knowing you are not dependent on others to dictate your happiness, your success, or your peace of mind. When you rely on yourself, you free yourself from the expectations and opinions of others. You stop seeking external approval or validation and begin to make decisions that align with your true values and desires. This freedom allows you to live more authentically, as you are no longer constrained by the need to conform to others' expectations or opinions. Another crucial aspect of self-reliance is the ability to adapt. Life rarely goes according to plan, and there will inevitably be times when we are forced to adjust our course. Self-reliant individuals are able to navigate these changes with grace and resilience because they trust in their ability to figure things out as they go. Instead of becoming overwhelmed by the unknown, they embrace the challenge and remain flexible, knowing that they can handle whatever comes their way. Adaptability is a key component of self-reliance because it allows you to stay grounded in the face of uncertainty and to continue moving forward, even when the road ahead is unclear. Ultimately, self-reliance is about empowerment. It is the realization that you are capable of much more than you think, and that you do not need to wait for others to give you permission to succeed, to thrive, or to be happy. When you embrace self-reliance, you take control of your own life, making choices that reflect your values, your goals, and your vision for your future. The strength to face life's challenges does not lie in the support of others, but in your ability to rely on yourself and keep moving forward, no matter what. It is this strength that will carry you through even the darkest times, and it is the foundation on which you can build a life of purpose, resilience, and fulfillment. Struggle and adversity are inevitable parts of life. No one can avoid them, and no one can live a life entirely free from hardship. Yet, it is through these struggles, these moments when we feel most challenged, that we are given the greatest opportunity for growth. Often, we look at struggle as something to avoid or something that diminishes us. We think of hardship as a burden that only holds us back or keeps us from reaching our potential. However, what if the very struggles we wish to escape were actually the catalysts for the transformation we desire? What if these moments of difficulty, these silent battles, were actually shaping us into the person we are meant to become? The struggles we face, especially those that we face alone, are not just obstacles. They are opportunities for personal development and strength. The transformation that comes from struggle is often invisible to the outside world. When people see someone who is overcoming adversity, they may only notice the outward signs of success, whether it be the achievement of a goal or the eventual triumph over hardship. However, what people don't see are the inner changes, the growth that occurs on a much deeper level. Struggle, especially when we face it without external support, forces us to look inward. It challenges us to examine our beliefs, our strengths, and our weaknesses. It asks us to question what we are truly capable of, and whether we are willing to push through our limits to become stronger. Through these silent battles, we develop the qualities of resilience and perseverance. Resilience is not the ability to avoid pain or difficulty. It's the ability to recover from it, to rise up and keep moving forward. It's about learning how to bend without breaking, how to face adversity with the understanding that it will eventually pass, and that we will emerge from it stronger and wiser. Every struggle that we face, no matter how small or large, builds our resilience. We may not feel it in the moment, but with each challenge we overcome, we become more capable of handling whatever comes next. The process of transforming through struggle is like the forging of steel. Only under immense pressure and heat can steel become truly strong and unyielding. Likewise, it is only in the midst of struggle that we can truly develop the inner strength needed to face future challenges with confidence. Struggle also forces us to develop patience. When faced with adversity, it is easy to want immediate results. We live in a world where instant gratification is often the norm, and when we are faced with a long or difficult journey, we may become impatient. However, personal transformation rarely happens quickly. It is a slow, steady process that requires us to trust in the journey, even when the end is not yet in sight. Patience teaches us to endure, to continue on despite the challenges, and to accept that growth takes time. The person who is willing to endure the struggle without seeking a quick fix is the one who will experience lasting change. They will come out of the battle not only stronger, but also wiser, with a deeper understanding of themselves and the world around them. In addition to patience, struggle nurtures a deeper sense of self-awareness. When we are facing hardship on our own, we are forced to confront the parts of ourselves that we may have been avoiding. We must face our weaknesses, our fears, and our vulnerabilities head-on. There is no room for denial in these moments. We must acknowledge our limitations in order to overcome them. In doing so, we become more aware of who we truly are, not just who we think we are. This awareness is key to personal transformation because it allows us to recognize the areas of our lives that need growth and improvement. We are no longer blinded by illusions of perfection or comfort. Instead, we see ourselves clearly and with compassion. With this self-awareness, we can make more informed choices about how to approach future challenges and how to continue growing. Moreover, struggle often teaches us the value of self-discipline. When we are fighting a battle alone, There is no one to hold us accountable, no one to remind us of our goals or encourage us when we are feeling down. We must develop the internal drive to keep going, even when the desire to quit is overwhelming. Self-discipline is what pushes us to keep working toward our goals, day after day, even when we don't feel like it. It's the ability to keep showing up, even when progress seems slow or non-existent. Self-discipline is often what separates those who experience temporary success from those who experience long-term transformation. The person who can keep working toward their goals, regardless of external circumstances or setbacks, is the one who will ultimately experience the greatest growth and achievement. In the end, the struggles we face alone are the ones that shape us into the people we are meant to become. It is easy to rely on others for help or to seek external validation when things get tough, but the greatest growth happens when we learn to rely on ourselves. We develop strength, resilience, and wisdom in those moments when we have no choice but to continue forward on our own. The transformation that comes from struggle is not immediate, nor is it always visible to the outside world, but it is profound. Each silent battle we face shapes us, refines us, and prepares us for the next challenge. The person who has faced adversity and emerged stronger is not the same person they were before. They are someone new, someone capable of overcoming whatever lies ahead. Through struggle, we are not diminished. We are transformed into something greater, someone more capable of handling the complexities of life with grace, strength, and perseverance. In the end, the silent battles we face without support are not our undoing. They are the very force that shapes us into the strongest versions of ourselves. These struggles, though painful and often isolating, are the crucible through which our resilience, perseverance, and self-reliance are forged. It is in the quiet, lonely moments when we are left to face the challenge alone that we discover the depth of our own strength. It's easy to think that we need others to carry us through difficult times, but the truth is, the most profound growth happens when we learn to rely on ourselves. Every step we take in the face of adversity, no matter how small, is a victory. With each struggle, we build a stronger foundation for our future, one that is rooted in self-trust, patience, and the unwavering belief that we are capable of overcoming anything life throws our way. It's through these silent battles that we not only find our true strength, but also uncover the immense power within us to create our own destiny. The journey may be long, and the road may be difficult, but as we continue to face our challenges with courage and resolve, we emerge not as victims of our circumstances, but as warriors, empowered, unshaken, and ready for whatever comes next.